Hi, my name is Pumi and I'm presenting the group assignment which is database design and development. In our group there are three people which is Sukhman, Sarika and my name is Pumi. We are discussing about the library management system. Let's get started. So the librarians are employees responsible for the control of books and records of the membership to ensure that all the transactions made concerning the library business are appropriate. So the members are find out how to check books, how to check data, how to check books out, how to check like return the books, with their borrowing, what time they are recording, what time they are checking everything, the records and updates of the member of the data. Like members of the library staff are also important because apart from performing general and like normal working of the library for the users as well, so user can find anything by searching everywhere in the library's records. So moving for the next slides. So it is the library management system database. Consider there are the table definition and attributes. The table includes books, members, staff, and transactions like each which the unique attributes defined in the table, and books table stored in the book ID, the title name, author name, price of the book, like book details, which members taking that data from the library members or the another member id, first name, last name, email, phone address, so we can directly search them and then we can find it out like how many books they borrowed from the library, everything. Okay, so now the data types and domains. What are the data types? So the publication year is defined as a year, so it makes sure that only takes correct year. Okay, so likewise, like data borrowed and due dates, a transaction is given attributes time of the date in order to store data values in the appropriate format, like the books ID and the books table, and then the member ID and the member table. So books ID, there is the books names as well, and the member ID, there is the member first name, last name, email address, and everything. So, for example, what are the primary and foreign keys in the two significant patterns in the relational database scheme in the implementation of the library management system? So, for example, in the books table, we can use to find the like field such as the book ID. That books have the identification number. So in the same way, if the member ID exists, that the table staff ID existing in the staff table are used in the field like establish the record unique because they are considered the field name keys. So the foreign keys are used to link tables and also to ensure that there are relation between two tables like books table and the member table. Like for example, if in the transaction table which the member id attributes like is the foreign key, then point to be a member id is member table which assigned to every transaction to be a practice member, particular member. So what is normalization? So first of all, the first normal form, the like all the tables have different primary keys. Like values of attribute are atomic, and hence all the values are do not repeat, do not like the nested data. Like normalization is the another technique used in the database. Like designing the eliminated the data, reduction is the data to produce the optimality design, flexible the database structure. Normalization is the like process of arranging the data logically tables or field with the intent to minimize redundancy and the make it easier to each table the one entire entity, so make a table easier to make it. The second point is database implementation and testing. So the second benefit of the MySQL is the important for the like application which is the crucial for the managing all the types of queries which will to be like issued the database management system to get the books data processed and transaction and perform the member of records transaction and others. So MySQL requires the database include tables, rows, column, and data structures such as like join the like library management system structure, especially when they are linking the books each other. Then they are linking the members and staff, also supporting to indexing the system, also level of financials, like level of the enhance the rate to searching the search result like MySQL is very important in the database.
Hi, my name is Sarika Patel and I am going to continue this presentation. Database schema. LMS is used in library management and it has a certain structure and tables are organized in a certain way. This is presented in the database schema. It shows various tables and their relationships within the management system. It will be used to store data about books and the members, staff and the transaction indicating their relationship. Schema of database is prepared in a way that information required for LMS are stored systematically and easily manageable for books, member, staff and all transactions. It also consists of four primary tables: print, person, people and trade. It has the title, author, the genre and the year of the publication. It has a primary key of book ID. Let's move to the next slide. Entity Relationship Diagram (ERD). Entity Relationship Diagram (ERD) of the LMS describe the structure of the system in terms of essential entities and their interconnection. Books, member, staff and transactions are the main components of the library and without them library cannot operate efficiently. The books entity is a particularly necessary as it contains primary information about each book. We can see all the components of ERD in this slide like book, member, staff and transaction, and also we can see how they are interconnected with each other. Popular database. For the LMS, loading the database means entering some of the data into the tables for its function and developer. The books table would include a range of books and each being repeated by a set of features including title, author, name, genre and publication of year. Testing database. It uses the join operation to combine the data from three tables. An analysis was made between the number of transactions, the number of books and the number of members. The query joins the transaction ID in the transaction table with the book ID in the book table to get the titles of the book. Retrieve all books borrowed by a specific member, for example, member with ID 1. SQL expression has a purpose of enumerating all books taken by a member having ID equal to 1. The query enables the library to obtain the book title repeated for each transaction, borrow date and status of each transaction in order to track the borrowing history of the member. The where clause further screen the output and displays only the transaction of the member with member ID is equal to 1.
Hi friends, my name is Sakman Kaur and I'm going to explain you about the leftover slides. As my group partners told you, we are making a presentation on library management. So let's proceed further. Yep. This slide explains an SQL query to retrieve all the books in a specific genre, like fantasy. The query searches for books labeled under fantasy by using a where clause, which will filter for this genre in the books table. So what it will do, it will help the library staff to quickly find all the books in a particular genre and making it easier for the members to discover books that matches the interest or the preferences and many things more. So in the example I have shown, like we have presented the screenshot of that. In the example, you can see the results includes the books like the Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stones, and the Hobbit. Both are under the fantasy genre. So moving further, this slide explains you to how to use an SQL query to update the status of the transaction, like which book has been returned or which book hasn't been returned yet, or it is given to someone or something else like that. So this query updates a specific transaction identified by its transaction ID in the transaction table as it's shown. So it uses the update statement to change the status field to returned for the transactions where the transaction ID equals to 1. Furthermore, this process helps the library staff to keep the stock, to keep the accurate records of the books which they have given to someone or which they have got returned, and ensuring correct transactions tracking and booking availability for the other members also in order to provide any hustle bustle type of situation. So this slide explains an SQL query to find the most borrowed books which have been borrowed by the persons from the library, listing the top three. So the query joins the books and the transactions tables to count how many books have been borrowed and how many times it has been borrowed. So it uses the count function to tally each book borrow instances and group the results of by the book ID. The results are ordered in descending order by the borrow count, so the books with the highest transactions appear first, and the limit 3 clause restricts the output to only the top 3 most borrowed books which have been borrowed by the people. So in this slide, and as I have mentioned the screenshot also of the SQL, so in this example, popular books which have been borrowed by the most of the people are like Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, and the Hobbit are among the most borrowed. The next slide explains an SQL query to find all the staff members who work as the librarians. The query retrieves details of staff with the role librarian by selecting data from the staff table and by using a where condition to filter for this specific role. This this condition is useful for identifying staff responsible for daily operation activities which are going in the library, including assisting members with the book borrowing, planning library functions, and there is a lot of management duties which they has to perform. So all links to this one. In the example, as you can see, the results including a staff member named Alice Johnson with the role of librarians. So I hope we haven't made you bored. So we are just going to conclude our project. So in the conclusion or in the nutshell, I would like to say the Library Management System LMS database design provides an effective solution for managing essential library operations, including handling data relating to books, members, and transactions, and some staff related issues, and something like that.